Erling Haaland's current goal scoring form is simply out of this world, but the lopsided nature of his goal scoring, where he scores all the goals for his team, raises an interesting question, which is that is it a problem when one player scores all of your goals, or is it better to have goals spread out amongst the teams? At this moment of recording, Erling Haaland has 18 goals in 14 appearances for Man City, with 13 goals in 10 Premier League appearances and 5 goals in 4 Champions League appearances. Haaland's 13 goals accounts for 65% of all goals the whole of Man City team have scored this season. No other Premier League player have a higher share of their team's goals this season than Haaland. For context, these 13 individual goals Haaland has got is more than 10 Premier League teams have scored in total this season so far. It's clear he's already the front runner to win the Golden Boot, but if Haaland was to maintain this rate of scoring 65% of his team's total goals, he would break the all-time Premier League record for an individual player scoring a percentage of his team's goals. Currently, the number one is James Beattie for Southampton in the 2002-03 season, where he scored 53% of his team's goals. Now, these records are usually held by players on lesser teams that have a very good striker or a striker that goes on a great run. Because if you look at the other players in the top 5 of most highest percentage goals for a team, you have players like Kevin Phillips for Sunderland, Jermaine Defoe for Sunderland, and Andy Johnson for Crystal Palace. These are mid-tier good strikers playing for mid-tier teams that go on hot streaks for a season. Erling Haaland, on the other hand though, is the best striker in the world, and he plays for one of the best attacking teams in the world that have other star attacking players like Omar Marmoush, Foden and Cherki. But it just shows how good Haaland is. If he were to continue scoring this rate, this would either mean Haaland went into God mode for a striker and kept scoring, or it could also mean that the Man City attackers around him have failed. So that's the point of this video, is to discuss the complexities of having a player who scores majority of your team's goals, which is great. You always want a player that scores lots of goals, but that one player can dominate his teammates so much that the rest of them forget how to score goals, and it creates a single bottleneck point of failure where that one striker is the only person that can score. And in Man City's case this season, they probably have that single point of failure because Haaland is scoring all the goals. If he were to get injured or not score on a particular day, Man City most likely will end up losing, and that's how Man City have already lost 3 matches so far this season. It is a well-known fact that Man City over the years have dominated the league by having 4 or 5 players scoring 10 plus goals and winning the league. These players like Raheem Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, Leroy Sané, De Bruyne, David Silva would all chip in with goals. At their peak, they once had 8 players scoring more than 5 plus goals in a single season, and they won the league that season. And since Haaland joined 3 seasons ago, Man City averaged only 5 players to score 5 plus goals in a single season. So it dropped from 8 players to 5 players scoring 5 plus goals. So it is a fact that once Haaland joined City, the way they play changed. They are less team orientated and focus on one player as single-minded striker. City went from winning the league without a single recognized striker in one season to then signing one of the best strikers in the world. But that paid off because in his debut season, Haaland helped them win the treble. But Man City now are a team that score less goals overall as a team than when Haaland wasn't in the team. And that's because he is scoring all the goals, he's the focal point. And wingers and midfielders are now encouraged to become playmakers for Haaland instead of getting their goals of their own. Imagine Sterling and Haaland playing together, it probably would not have worked. The risk of Haaland getting injured and ruining Man City's season is not far-fetched and could happen. And if Haaland was to get injured, Man City are not geared to having someone else score bulk of the goals to compensate for Haaland missing. Man City this season are trying to compete with Arsenal, who are comfortably sitting at the top of the league. Now they are the complete opposite of Man City right now. They don't have that one person scoring all the goals. Their goals are much more spread out throughout the team. So Arsenal are almost doing the strategy of the old Man City team. But with that being said, it's a risk worth taking for Man City, because if Erling Haaland does stay fit and continues to score on this form, City will not care one bit that no one else has scored goals, because when you have a player scoring this high amount of goals, it usually means winning or coming very close to winning the Premier League. In the past, there have been 4 instances where the league champions had one player score 20% or more of the team's goals. Those players were Thierry Henry in the invincible 03-04 season, Cristiano Ronaldo in the 07-08 season, Erling Haaland himself in 2022-23 season, and Mo Salah in last season 2024-25 season. So Haaland could etch his name in history if he was to replicate that form again and lead City to the league title. But at the very least, Man City still need other players like Omar Marmoush, Savinho, Doku, Foden, Cherki, or even Reinders to start scoring goals and help Haaland. Thank you for watching this video. Leave a comment below on what you think of Erling Haaland's form. Also subscribe to my channel to support the content.